Number one, you're as valuable as you think you are. And what I mean by that is if you only think you've got $29 one-time value, then you've only got $29 one-time value. But some people are out there charging $2,000 for the thing that you only want to charge 29 bucks for. What's going on, everybody? Travis here, and I apologize about the lighting, but I'm trying to make sure that you guys can see what's going to be on this whiteboard here. In today's video, and this is not going to be a short, quick tip thing, this is going to be a real full-on mapping of a brand new seven-figure funnel. I'm going to take you guys through how we created the idea for it, how we're going to actually go through marketing it, and lay out all the details here because this is actually not my funnel. This is going to be my wife's funnel, so technically it kind of is my funnel, but I'm going to show you guys how you don't have to be an internet marketing crazy guru full-time thing in order to make this really, really badass and to be able to make a lot of money from doing this. So this is something that I know everybody is doing in my world. They're able to do this and you can scale it. You can, really be able to put a lot of money in and generate 10, 15, 20 times the amount out. So I'm going to actually try to map everything out here on this one whiteboard. Thank God it's huge. But I'm going to map it all out, show you guys, and talk about the ideas, how we created the ideas, and what we hope to be able to plan to do with them. But this funnel is almost guaranteed to be able to break into six figures pretty quickly, and we're going to talk about all the details that actually go into this whole thing. So hopefully you guys will pay attention, hopefully you'll enjoy and share. But if you are not subscribed right now, what are you doing? Click below and subscribe to be able to catch all the other videos that I do that are going to be like this, and some other ones that are a little bit better and more well produced and a better use of your entertainment time. This is more education time, so make sure you guys pay attention. So let's go ahead and drop right into exactly what it is that we're going to do. This funnel is going to be built around fitness. So our niche is fitness, and what we're going to do is we're actually going to run 8-week fitness and nutrition boot camps. Now this is going to be kind of fun. So I'm going to go ahead and put up here boot camp funnel, right? So now you guys can see we've got a nice little boot camp funnel, and I apologize if it goes light to dark, don't worry, we'll always come back to the light, as they say. So first thing is, we obviously have a starting point with whatever it is that we already have for our business, right? So my wife has social channels, which I love this because the triangle of traffic, if you will, is going to be hinged on social. So, and I'll explain what that means. But we already have Facebook, right? We already have a Facebook page. We already have a YouTube channel, and we already have Instagram. So we have these three platforms, and each one of them has a certain amount of subscribers on them. I think this is like 23,000 or 29,000. This is 30,000. I think it's more than that. And this is like 15,000, right? But it doesn't matter the amount of users or subscribers that you have on these platforms. You just need to have them because we're going to use one to feed the other and one to feed the other. And we'll get back to exactly how all of this kind of flows together once you see the whole funnel. But we've got our social environment here, right? Now, this is going to be what makes up most of what we do. We're going to have, over time, we'll be able to do YouTube ads, Facebook ads. And one of the things that we want to be able to do is grow everything all at the same time. And we do that through an indoctrination process. And we're going to get there in this video, which is going to be really comprehensive. So we've already got our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, and our Instagram because we know that we want to be able to give everybody who comes through this funnel, we want to be able to give them the experience that they want. The light in here sucks. We want to be able to give them the experience that they want, which means we want them to be able to consume content wherever they want to do that. So maybe some of the content they want to consume is on YouTube, maybe some's on Facebook, maybe some's on Instagram. Whenever they come through our funnel, we're going to show them where they can get that stuff from us, right? Because somebody might come through Facebook, but maybe they're more of an avid Instagrammer, so they'd rather follow her on Instagram. We want to be able to provide that opportunity. Okay, so we've actually got our pages. The 8-week boot camp is going to be run pretty simply. It's just going to be an 8-week session. We're going to do them every 8 weeks. So there is no automation or sort of like, automated webinar where somebody can sign up every day. The nice thing that this does is by having a set schedule every 8 weeks, we have built-in and real scarcity when we actually promote something. So when we're promoting ads on Facebook to get people to sign up for our boot camp, we have real scarcity in that, hey, this week, this 8-week boot camp is about to start. If you don't join now, you have to wait another 8 weeks before you can jump in. And that scarcity is, and you'll hear me talking about this in other videos, it's the justification that they need to pull the trigger and buy something. Most of the time when somebody buys something, it's because there was that little extra bonus, right? So it's when you're marketing to somebody, what is your extra incentive? And a lot of times, one of the most beneficial incentives is time, because we're about to remove this thing. And so an 8-week boot camp provides us that opportunity where if you're not in at the beginning, you can't join in on week 3 because number 1, you wouldn't get as good at results, but number 2, we're gonna actually shut down the ability to sign up until it's every 8 weeks. So the next thing that we're gonna need, and again, we're gonna kind of talk about assets on this side. The next thing that we're gonna need is we're obviously gonna need a membership area, but I'm not gonna put that in here yet. I'm gonna talk about the membership area once we get to that level in the funnel. The first thing that we will need though is gonna be a landing page, and that's gonna be over here. And the reason I'm gonna put it over here is because we're actually gonna map out the ad structure. Landing page, right? So on this landing page, we're gonna actually allow everybody very clearly to sign up for our webinar. We want them to be able to actually sign up. This is gonna be a webinar funnel. Most of you are like, well, I don't know how to make a webinar. That's okay. You don't necessarily have to know how to make a webinar right now. The funnel itself is gonna be step 1, perfecting your webinar. And if anybody tells you otherwise, they're lying to you, but perfecting a webinar is trial and error. You can start off with a good kind of idea, and in another video, I will walk you through the idea for creating your webinar, but in very short detail, all you really have to do is be able to show, hey, there's a problem that exists in your world. So in fitness, right, our problem is gonna be stop going from diet to diet to diet to diet. That's not a way to live. And the big problem is you only get one life. Like if you really let that soak in and if you let that actually hit you and weigh on you, you've only got one life. So to not be healthy and to decrease your quality of life by being overweight or being unhappy with the way that you look / feel, mostly with the way that you feel, you're literally cutting your life expectancy and then also your quality of experience of life. So you've only got one. There is nothing more important than your quality of life and your life expectancy, because if taking a program, and this is what's amazing, is in this program, we're gonna be teaching people how to actually make that quality of life something that matters to them and make it an experience that they want and not be dictated by, some other guy's, certain diet program and how, I failed the Atkins diet and I failed this diet, or I took a diet and then I bounced back. Where right away we're associating all of the problems that people have in the fitness world, which is diets suck. No matter how many crunches I do, I can't get abs, this kind of stuff. We're gonna talk about those in the beginning of the webinar. We're gonna say, look, I know this is a problem. You know this is a problem. Here's a little bit about me, how I know that this is how we can create a solution. And then we provide the solution, which is our 8-week boot camp. And the reason that we actually came up with this idea, and I think this is really important for a lot of you, is my wife started doing 8-week boot camps at a local gym where she was doing the nutrition counseling side of things, helping people understand how she eats and her kind of philosophy on food and how you should be treating food. And what's amazing is she did an 8-week boot camp, 13 people show up, all 13 people at the end of the boot camp statistically lost body fat. They measured body fat at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end. Every single one of them lost body fat. And the important thing was, at the end of the challenge, we interviewed a bunch of people. And one of the women was like, look, I think the most important part of this is the fact that this is a lifestyle I think I can maintain. It's not about, cutting food out of my diet. It's not about this. So what's awesome is we've got some great testimonials already being built out, but that's what gave us the idea, hey, why not just take this digitally? People are already working out. What they really need is the stuff that they're gonna get behind the scenes, the mental stuff, which is what she's already providing for people in a boot camp now. So let's take it nationwide, global even so that you can keep doing what you're doing fitness-wise, but just get the right idea nutritionally because there's just so much misinformation. So now we've got a landing page, and let's just kind of lay out exactly what's going to happen. This landing page is going to obviously send them to a thank you page. Now, any of you guys who know me, you know we're going to have messenger reminders, right? So we're going to actually get them to opt into our messenger list on the thank you page by saying, hey, look, this is a one-time event. We only do these once every 8 weeks. Make sure you're there. Sign up for messenger notifications. You don't want to miss this. This is amazing kind of thing. So we'll send messenger notifications, right? Now, obviously, when they join, we're also going to grab their email list, their email address. So now that email address is also going to not only send them back to the thank you page, getting them to the reminders area. We don't care about the rest of it. We want them to get the reminders. So now we're building up our messenger list, right? But also on top of that, we're going to hit them with replays. And that's supposed to be like a little clock. We're going to hit them with replays after the webinar because there's a lot of people who are going to sign up, but they're not going to make it. And some of the numbers just for you guys so that you understand, this is going a little bit deeper, but for every 1,000 people that you sign up, you're probably going to get about 10 to 20% of them to show up. If you use messenger reminders, you might be able to get a little bit more, but let's say 20% of people show up. And just doing the basic math, kind of walking you guys through how this ought to all work, let's say you're paying $5 per subscriber to get somebody who you don't know to come and attend your webinar. You get 1,000 people to show up, and you're paying $5 to Facebook ads per lead. That sounds scary because that's $5,000 for 1,000 people. And I just told you 80% of them at best won't show up, so only 20% will. Let's go ahead and go a lower number and say 10% show up. 100 people out of 1,000. We've just paid $5,000 to get 100 people to show up. Now, what's cool is if your webinar is decent, right? If it's decent and if you actually provide really, really good value and you're not overcharging people and you present yourself well, you're going to get about $100 per attendee on this live broadcast. So 100 people, $100 per attendee, $10,000. You've paid $5,000. You've just made $5,000. Now, what's really cool about that is you can scale that up. The more people that you get to attend your webinar, the more money you're going to make, right? The more people you get through your funnel, the bigger that whole pie becomes. We just want to be able to get that percentage of the pie larger. And so one of the things that we've done is we've been able to add these messenger reminders, which gets like 30 to 35% of people to show up, and then also hit them with reminders of this because, again, no matter what, if you get 30% of people to show up, 70% are not going to be there. So now you've got to figure out, okay, how can I still get them to see the offer? They opted in, they're interested, they just couldn't make it to show up. Somebody from the UK signs up and it's 8 p.m. on Tuesday, the live webinar, they're not going to be there at 1 a.m. in the morning, right? So that's kind of what you have to remember to do. Now, again, we're going to be using our Facebook page to feed this landing page. We're going to be using our YouTube and our Instagram to feed this landing page. Hey, come join my next 8-week boot camp. What's important also here is immediately after the boot camp is that the webinar, the live webinar, immediately after it's held, we need to switch that to another webinar that's going to sign them up for the one that's going to happen in 8 weeks. Because again, we don't want somebody randomly hitting this page but not being able to get serviced in some way. So, all right, so now thank you page. We've got our, first off, let's go ahead and do this because we know we need this. This is almost as valuable of an asset as your email list. This is your Facebook retargeting pixel. We're building up a list of people who have been to our landing page, and then we're going to do the same thing on our thank you page. We're building up a list of people who've now made it to our thank you page. Eventually, we're going to use this information to create a new audience of people that we can target to. So in the beginning, you make this audience of, well, I think these people would be interested. And then over time, you get 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 people to show up here. You now tell Facebook, I want a new audience of people that are like the people who made it here, right? Pretty easy. Pixeling and cooking is not what we're going to do here today. But it is something that you guys should know. It's very important that these steps are taken because this right here is equally as important as this or the messenger reminder and these things, because that's like true longevity and providing you cheaper audiences, which is obviously one of the main goals. So now we've got this whole thing set up. One of the things that we want to be able to do here is obviously fill this actual webinar, right? Now we're filling the webinar. On that, they can go and they can purchase the boot camp, in which case they're going to get access to a members area, right? A members area, as well, and I'll get out of the way of this soon, as a Facebook group, right? They're going to get access to a members area as well as a Facebook group, and we're also going to add them to a messenger list to get notifications of the updates that we actually give out for the group. Now that we've taken money, the transaction has already taken place. Now we have to deliver on that promise in order to make sure that people actually get what we need them to deliver. So we have a whole, we have the whole product laid out, right? We already know what our product's going to be. It's going to be, weekly webinars in the group that you can join, and it's going to be this, that. We've got a book we're giving them. So we've got this stuff kind of laid out, and we know that the basic model of this funnel is already in place, because all I've got to do is go into ClickFunnels, make a landing page and a thank you page, and we're good there, and then get the webinar set up. So most of this isn't going to take very much time to put together. This is what they're actually going to get. The group is super important, though, because we want that activity in the members group. So I'm just going to write real quick. I'm going to write members, because back here we're also going to have a free group that we use. And if you didn't watch this video, I did do a video talking about how you can use groups to be able to make money on Facebook. We're going to have a free group. The idea of this is going to be very plain, right? This is the beginning of our funnel. We're going to have this free group, and maybe it's called like True Health and Fitness, right? Something that, like, when somebody sees it, they're like, I want True Health and Fitness, I'm going to join. Something very easy to associate and relate with. So they join the free group, and we're going to use that free group in a couple of ways. But number one, we want to use that group to provide just value right out the gate, raw value, give them content, make them understand that you are an expert, make them understand that you're worth listening to. Now you've got this nice big group, you can control the flow of the group and actually what takes place. So we're going to use this group to send people to our landing page. Now we're going to use all of our social as well, so it does help if you have a little bit of a social standing already. It will help you obviously send traffic to the landing page. But if you're starting from scratch, which we're pretty much going to be starting from scratch because organic reach sucks and all this kind of stuff. So if you're starting from scratch, you're obviously going to have some ads. Now, this is where people are like, oh, this is the complicated part. It's really not that complicated. All we've got to do, your ad, and I'm going to give you guys a little tip, your ad when you're selling a product should focus on the result that your product gives people, not on how awesome your product is. So I don't want you guys thinking like, oh, I got to show off how many cool modules I have, and I've got to talk about how this is the next up and coming thing. It's like, no, what your ad should talk about is the results that you're giving people. And if you don't have any results for people yet, give it to a couple of people that they can use for free so that you can get some results from people. Or make it about the results that you yourself have actually achieved and obtained. So in this case, our ads are actually going to be about, the fact that we've had 13 people in a live boot camp. The last one, all 13, 100% body fat reduction success rate. They're already doing another boot camp now where everybody's showing some really great progress. So we're going to have some videos of people like talking about what they thought about the boot camp and all this kind of stuff. And then it's going to be like, hey, in order to figure out what these people learned to be able to reduce their body fat in 8 weeks and all this kind of stuff and to make it maintainable, go check out our landing page. Our landing page is going to be like, we're going to hold a one-time live broadcast where we're going to explain to you exactly how this whole system works. And then we lay out the fact that, hey, this was all put into an 8-week boot camp where we do all of this, blah, blah, blah. Now is your opportunity to go through that whole webinar thing that I just described. So we're going to use ads. And actually, I should mention here, this is going to be Facebook, right? And so we're also going to be running YouTube ads, right? We want YouTube ads because that's also going to build up the YouTube, but we want YouTube ads because that's a great way to drive people to this landing page. So Our YouTube ad is going to be a little bit different than our Facebook ad, right? Conceptually, we've got to figure out, okay, what's the mentality of somebody on Facebook versus the mentality of somebody on YouTube? For instance, you wouldn't post the same ad on Facebook that you normally would on YouTube because the entertainment consumption is different on YouTube versus Facebook. So YouTube's going to be more like, based especially on where they're finding this ad. If it's pre-roll, which means it's an ad that you're showing somebody in front of the video that they want to watch, you've got to make sure that first like 10, 15 seconds needs to be really cool and captivating. Versus Facebook, you can kind of hop right in, or you could use like a meme style video where you have text on top that leads them to want to watch more. So there's different styles. This is, again, not a tutorial on how to make, Facebook versus YouTube ads. I'm just going to be laying out what we're going to do. I already understand how to do these things, so I will at some point be able to show you guys in retrospect how we're doing this. But Facebook ads, YouTube ads, and when I say Facebook, yes, of course, we'll be using Instagram. We'll probably be doing some story ads, and very lightly we'll be using organic stuff to drive people here. I don't think that there's really an application to correctly always spam people from Instagram over to your stuff. And if you want to look at a great example, look at anybody who has a lot of followers on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, and you'll see most of what they put out is content. Every now and then it's like, hey, this is, maybe a piece of content that Sarah puts out at some point says, hey, I'm here with so-and-so who I run these challenges with, and they do like a cool video, and it's like, hey, if you want to check out one of our online challenges, click here. So it's sort of like a soft ask. It's not like, hey, everybody, I'm doing this, and you should go sign up for that, because it then becomes like, I don't want to follow this person. They're just a salesperson. So we're using all these different methods to be able to actually drive traffic. Every one of them is going to have a little bit of a different relationship with our users at the end. But let's say we get people to actually opt in, right? One of the things that we also want to do along the way is this, we're going to call it an indoctrination, and I'm just going to write IND. In the indoctrination stage, what we're actually doing is we're sending people a sign as to what this is going to be, right? So in the indoctrination, we remind them again that the webinar is this day, this time. Okay, that's step number one. Step number two is, hey, here's a little bit more about me, because at this point, they don't really know a lot about you. And what makes you who you are. And this also gives them a reason to want to listen to what you're about to say. But even more importantly is I want to use this indoctrination series, or this first step, to send them over to my Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. One of the worst assumptions that I see people making is, well, hey, I showed somebody an ad on Facebook and they came to my landing page. Why would I ask them to go follow me on Facebook again? Because they know I'm on Facebook. Knowing you're on Facebook and liking your Facebook page are two very different things. I have a little bit over 10,000 followers right now on my Facebook fan page, which you guys feel free, go follow. I'll link in the bottom. But I'm realizing every single day, I've got people liking my posts that have followed me for over a year that don't like my fan page yet, because they just probably haven't thought about it. For whatever reason, they're getting the information they need from me, or that they want from me, or that Facebook shows them periodically, but they're not getting it because they like my page. So I've got to ask some of them, and they come over and they like my page. Again, that takes this Facebook page from 29,000 to 50,000, right, over time. And that's just more social proof. That then makes more people want to listen to us because we have a larger following. It would be like looking at an ad from Tony Robbins. If Tony Robbins only had 1,000 likes, you'd be like, that's kind of weird. But when he has 6 million likes, you're like, oh, I'll listen to this guy. So, and then again, we also use this group to feed. And so let me just mention this. We also use this group to feed our social as well. So in the group, we can link to other stuff. We link in the group to our social channels, right? So every single one of these, and this is where I was talking earlier about the traffic triangle. So if I'm building up my group, I'm also using that group to build up my individual pages over here. So I'll post my YouTube videos in the group. I'll mention every now and then, hey, go follow me on Instagram. I'll do that in the group. And then again, I'll post from my Facebook fan page into the group so that people can get to know my fan page as well. And obviously, both of these ads are going to natively grow my social platforms because that's just the way that it works. If I'm promoting stuff on Facebook, people are going to see my page in the ad. some people will mouse over my name and click like, right? So everybody who runs ads on Facebook, you know that you build likes slowly, but you build likes from your ads because people want to now see the rest of your content. And by the way, don't overlook that, because the life cycle of a buyer now is like 6 months, right? So, like the longest life cycle of a buyer is about 6 months. So some of these people, that's just the way that they go about buying stuff. They like your fan page first. They see if you have other cool content. And it's like also, it's a soft reminder for them. Like if I'm selling a course on bots and somebody likes my fan page, then what they're really saying is, I definitely think this is something that's kind of cool, but I'm not sure that I'm ready to make that move right now. And in 6 months from now, they're like, you know what? Let's do it. This guy's constantly talking about it and doing this. So again, don't overlook the likes that you get from Facebook ads. That's a really good tidbit for a lot of you guys. All right, so building up the landing page, getting a bunch of subscribers, using those subscribers, getting them over to our thank you page, indoctrinating them into our other social channels, building up this nice retargeting area where we can now create a new lookalike audience that we send into our landing page, generating us more traffic, getting us more quality, good leads. Again, all of this pointing them to a live webinar that we have every single 8 weeks, where when they purchase, they get a members area, they get all this other really cool stuff. That the actual details of the offer, that's going to be up to you guys. But one of the things that I cannot stress enough is, number one, you're as valuable as you think you are. And what I mean by that is, if you only think you've got $29 one-time value, then you've only got $29 one-time value. But some people are out there charging $2,000 for the thing that you only want to charge 29 bucks for. Now, there is a time and a place to charge really big money and to not charge really big money. After a webinar is one of those times where somebody is engaged. And I heard a really, really good, sort of analogy recently where it comes to people purchasing something live versus, watching a video or content or whatever it is. And it's like going to a gala, right? A webinar is the online gala. You get decked out, you go, you're at a certain time, it starts at a certain time. It's an event, right? When you go to a gala and you see a little sign-up sheet for a donation, people are going to donate right there. But when you see an ad, right? When you see an ad, you're not going to spend 2,000 bucks after having just seen a Facebook ad. Just like on Facebook, if you saw a viral video, you're not going to spend a whole bunch of money or donate to that cause maybe right away. You would if you go to a gala. So getting somebody to attend this online gala is really important, because that's where you actually can make some transactions happen. And don't overthink the difficulty of a webinar, because they're just really not that difficult as long as you have real value to give somebody. So at this point now, again, everything that we're doing is feeding the other thing that we want to accomplish, right? Eventually we want a really big fan page. Eventually we want a lot of people on our email list and things like that. So we're going to keep running with that. So again, on this page, now I want to talk about the message reminder, or our, Facebook Messenger list, or whatever it is, the subscriber list. I'm just going to put MSG, which is not monosodium glutamate. I think that's what it's called. Not the bad MSG. We're talking about Messenger subscribers. And again, through here, we are going to send them replays, right? That's a clock. And we're also going to hit them with the IND, or the indoctrination. It's even easier through Messenger because you're pretty much guaranteed that it's going to get to them. So let's say we have 1,000 people, we have 2,000 people hit our landing page, we have 1,000 of them sign up. When they sign up, maybe 500, 400 of them will take the next step and join our Messenger subscriber list. When they do that, we want to again, we're going to put in place that, hey, we'll message these people with a link to our replay. But then also the indoctrination. Hey, thanks so much for joining the webinar. If you want to get a little bit more information, or if you want to follow me on some of my other channels, here's the links to those. And you can literally, in Messenger, you can put links to your YouTube channel, your Facebook. This is actually the opportunity that you have to start marketing to somebody. Within that 24 hours of them subscribing, you can market to them whatever you want. That's totally kosher on Facebook's end. So what I would do is I would consider using it as your method of marketing your other social pages. Some of you guys are going to say, well, Travis, if I only have 24 hours to market to them, why shouldn't I sell my product here versus up here? Because we're thinking long term. We're thinking big global scale. We're not thinking, how can I squeeze money out right now? You will squeeze money out when you get them here. Again, it's a process, And if we just run the math over, right? If we get 2,000 people here, let's say we actually get 1,000 of them here. Now, this is not an unusually high opt-in rate. If you're targeting people you think are interested and they see your ad and they go to your landing page, at this point, they're pretty interested. So a lot of the times we're seeing higher than this, usually about 60 to 70. All right, well, lesson learned, make sure that you always have enough room on your memory card for full, long videos. Let's get back to this. So we are playing this out to 2,000 people hitting our page, 1,000 of them opting in, and then we get maybe like, let's say 400 of them to join our Messenger subscriber list. That Messenger subscriber list then indoctrinates them. We might get an extra 100 people to like our Facebook fan page, YouTube, and Instagram, right? And now we're building value over the course of time. I'm not worried about right now figuring out how much money can I actually make all the time, right? But we've got 1,000 people here, and I already said before, let's go with an average low. Let's go with the low number of attendees, people who sign up and actually make it to the webinar. So we're talking about 100 people, right? 100 people actually make it. Now, if you're not totally confused on what you're doing on this webinar and you're not a total bad public speaking type, which trust me, I wasn't that great public speaking, and when I got on webinars, I got a lot better because you just keep doing it. If you totally screw up, out of 100 people, let's say you're selling a product for $500, right? If you sell a $500 product is cheap, by the way. Let's just go with 1,000 because that's what I'm going to be selling. $1,000. If you get 10 people to purchase, 10% of these people to purchase, you're at 10 grand. In order for us to break even, we need 5 of these people who actually go all the way through this funnel. We need 5 of them to buy whatever it is that we're selling. At this point, if you're not selling 5 people on a $1,000 product, your product probably isn't that good, or your webinar totally missed the point and you're not showcasing what you need to showcase to people. Because $1,000 is just, in the scheme of things, it might sound like a lot, but it's actually not that much money when you're talking about having 100 people on. And here's the number that I want you guys to really pay attention to, okay? So I tell everybody 56, 41, 3, right? So 56, 41, 3. 56% of people are never going to buy from you, right? Let's just assume that that's the case. More than half of the people that you reach out to are never going to buy from you. That means 56% of the people who opt into this list, they're not going to buy from you, okay? Let's just forget about those people for a second, and let's look at the 3%, right? 3% are ready to buy right now, okay? They're ready to buy right this minute. They're looking for whatever it is that you're offering. As long as you do a decent enough job, you're going to be able to make that happen. So 3% of 100 is 3. Now we're at 3,000. So we've spent, right? We've spent 5. We've just made back 3. That's the people who we know already they're going to buy from us, right? And that's just based on this attending number. This 41% is the most important number that you have as a marketer. That is the number of people who are poised to buy, people who are about to buy, right? We talked a little bit earlier about the buying cycle being sometimes several months long. Those are the people who are in the 41%. That is a huge number of your total audience. So out of 1,000 people, 410 of them will buy something in the fitness space at some point, right? If you're in the fitness niche or if you're in whatever niche, 41% of them will buy something soon. Whether it's at this price point, who knows? Whether it's from you, you can kind of dictate that by following up with them via retargeting, right? So now maybe they don't buy right away, maybe they follow up after. A great example with webinars. We have webinars where 100 people show up, and after the webinar, we'll get 20 people who say, hey, can I get a replay to that? I need to re-watch it to make sure that I understand. Or I missed the first half, can I watch it again? And if you don't pay attention to all the little details, you won't be able to capture the 41% that are poised to buy, which means those are the people who are going to buy from you soon, if not like in the next couple of weeks. Maybe they join your next 8-week boot camp because now they're consistently hearing you talk about the benefits and the results, right? So again, this is not a short-term process, but it is something that will absolutely pay off overwhelming dividends if you actually follow it all the way through. And again, just to kind of recap the way that we're actually doing this and what benefits we get throughout the course of it, we're going to end up building a pretty massive group, right? We're going to spend $5-10 a day advertising our group, getting people to join. But in our indoctrination stage, we're going to say, hey, go join our free group if you're not already. We're also going to say, hey, make sure you follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Now we're growing those channels. And here's what I think is amazing. If at the end of the day, if you spend X thousands of dollars and you break even, right? We're talking about right here, this whole like where the money actually comes in, the percentages and the webinars. If you just break even, but you've built an email list of 1,000 people, you send one email to that email list of, let's say you're in the fitness niche, you send one email out to them and you say, hey, either I'm bringing somebody else on a webinar and they're going to tell you about their cool thing that could help you, or I'm promoting something on ClickBank, or I've got my book. Now you've got free access to traffic. You don't have to repay for ads to reach these 1,000 people. So now let's imagine worst case scenario, you break even on all this stuff here, right? You're going to make money when you start emailing that list. Now, let's say you go live on Facebook where you're announcing the sale of a new book that you just wrote, or the sale of a new protein that you just made, or whatever it might be. Now you send out a notification on Messenger telling people, hey, I'm live on Facebook. And instead of 10 people watching you, you've got 50 people watching you. So now, again, we go back to these same numbers. Those 50 people, 56% of them are not going to buy your book. 41% of them are getting closer to buying. 3% will buy almost on the spot right there. And that number is pretty true as long as you know what you're doing and you're not just like, hey, buy my book right now, right? As long as you actually give people a reason and you go through the proper steps, 3% of people will buy from you on the spot. The 41% is where the people who make a lot of money doing this, that's where they're focusing their time, which is why this right here is one of the most important assets you can have. This right here, this right here, this right here, and this. You notice not a single thing that I circled is something that costs money for the user to be on, right? Or to be paying attention to you. You're gonna grow a lot of trust here that's gonna make somebody at some point be like, hey, I've been following you on YouTube for a year. You have such great stuff. Then there's a link in one of your YouTube videos that points them over to the landing page where they can sign up for the webinar, and now they're gonna be joining the webinar and then potentially being one of the 3% that buys your product. So this is, in a nutshell, this is how an actual webinar funnel would work. The beautiful thing is you guys can take this as high up as you want and scale it down to this level if you want to as well. There are all kinds of stuff you can do along the way to perfect this, like, you know, looking at the landing page, for instance. What if everything else is the same? This is how you scale webinars and scale any kind of online offer. Let's assume you're doing all of this stuff the same. All your ads are the same. Your ad cost is the same. You don't change anything. You send 2,000 people to your landing page, right? Let's say that we add one thing to our landing page, or we split test our landing page, and we go from 1,000 subscribers to 1,200, right? Now, that's an extra, what is that? That's an extra 20%, right? On this number, which is only 10% increase in conversion. An extra 20% make it here. So what we're talking about there is now we've got 480 Messenger subscribers, more people than following us on our fan page. So there's a lot of things that you can do. Most important number here, when you have 1,200 people here, now you're at 120 people showing up live at a bare minimum. And what if we can increase our attendance to our webinar as well? So we have these little phases that we can do. Phase 1, increase conversion. Phase 2, increase attendance. How do we increase attendance? Incentivizing people to show up, right? When you come, you're gonna get this free download, this free guide, this free course, whatever it might be. Give them something that also leads them into wanting more from you anyways. So there's just so much. And the key here is you have to have this whole thing literally just filled with value. Your ads have to provide value in them. The ads that you see getting over 1 million views have a ton of value. The group, you cannot just constantly spam links to products in your group. You've got to have value or else nobody's going to want to be in your group. Here, you should almost never talk about products or link directly to products or webinar sign-up pages or whatever unless somebody asks you to, or unless it feels really natural, right? That's when you really want to hit people with, like on Facebook, if you have a post that's like, oh man, one of my students just lost 5% body fat. Here's a link where you can go check it out, right? That's a little bit different than, you know, go check this thing out. So we're always leading with value, value, value. Give people something that they want, a teaser of what they want, show them that they can get it here on this landing page by signing up for our webinar. Now we're starting this whole new process, an indoctrination phase where we get them to then like our fan page, follow our group. We want them to see us everywhere, and I give credit to Alex Becker. I saw a video that he did recently. I don't know if he knows that I'm watching, but I am watching everybody. I'm watching everybody. One of the things that he mentioned was, and this is a great idea, you want people to, when they go on Instagram, they're going to see you on Instagram. Then they go later on YouTube, they're going to see you on YouTube. Then they go on Facebook and they see you on Facebook. Even just seeing you in these different places, eventually they're going to be like, man, this guy must either A, guy or girl, must know what they're talking about, or man, I see all this value coming from this person. Then I take the next step. Then when I actually do get that, right hook, so to speak, from Gary Vaynerchuk, when I actually do get that right hook, I'm more willing to listen because I have a relationship with that person. And I'll tell you guys this last little tidbit here. The number one reason that Kim Kardashian and the Kardashians make so much money is because they bring people into a friendship-like relationship in their lives. They ask questions that you might ask a friend, like, hey, where can I go to eat here in Denver, right? Like they're asking for input from other people so people feel important in their lives. These are things that you do through social. And they're not doing it by saying every single day, hey, go download my app, because guess what? Kim Kardashian made more money off of her app than she makes off of almost everything else. I think like $200 million, something crazy. And she didn't really have to ask that many people to go do it because it started to become popular on its own, right? She had so many followers that it wasn't so hard. So building this up is an asset in and of itself that is almost unexplainable. There's social proof here. There's access to free traffic. There's a bunch of really cool stuff. This group as well, access to free traffic, social proof. It's great. Your messenger subscriber list, I think, is up there in the top 5 assets that you can have. Email list, retargeting, messenger subscribe list, big Facebook group, and obviously big following on your social channels. So even if we fail at this, we've now grown our social channels so that when we retry it again, we can grow them again and we have a starting point to kind of go off of. And so there's really no scenario, as long as you plan this thing out all the way through and you follow all the steps that I just outlined, there's really no scenario where you get zero value out of giving this kind of thing a shot. You've just really got to be able to deliver to your customers. You don't want to end up making a course that's rushed and that doesn't have a lot of content in it, or good content that can actually benefit people, because you will pay the price in the long run of people refunding, charging back, leaving bad reviews. Make this worth its weight in gold. And again, one of the ways that you do that is by, number one, setting the expectation, but then number two, like in the fitness space, and I'll leave you guys with this, one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to describe the fact that, hey, for $997, if we decrease your body fat by 3% and you're 200 pounds, you've just lost 6 pounds. That 6 pounds equates mathematically to X amount of time added onto your life, right? Decreases the amount of risk you have for a heart attack or stroke. Decreases the amount of prescription medications you have to be on, putting more money in your wallet. Now you are actually not making money, but maybe you're saving money. And so there's a lot of amazing benefits to getting a small health and fitness result that for $1,000, really? Imagine how much you'd save on prescription medications if you don't have to take your high blood pressure medication anymore or your anxiety medication anymore, because through nutrition, we help you solve some of these issues. And that's, everybody will tell you, most of the problems that we have as a world today when it comes to nutrition, they're environmental. We're adding them onto ourselves by eating Big Macs and processed foods. So we help you figure out a real and legitimately easier way to solve some of these problems by eating good, real, natural foods, and how you can take them in and how it's not crazy impossible. And just by making a small change like that, if we actually get them to do it, which again, our boot camp has had an insane success rate on in person, doing this digitally, now somebody loses a couple of pounds of body fat, it's compounded benefit for us, because not only are we now getting a lifelong customer, somebody who we've helped and we can continuously focus on them, like we just added days to your life, more days that you get to spend with your child, more days that you get to do the thing that you love, a better chance that you're fit and healthy when you take that trip to Italy and you can walk around and enjoy yourself and not be, worried about whether or not you're going to have a heart attack because you're 60, 80, 90, 100 pounds overweight. there's so much benefit to getting your health right that if we have little wins in this product, it's going to make the product worthwhile. But we've got to be able to do all of this stuff to get them in this. So I'm excited. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Please do me a favor. Let me know if you liked this video. Let me know that you're subscribed. I'd love if you would tell a friend, maybe somebody who's looking to do a webinar if you want to. Otherwise, no harm, no foul. I'll keep doing videos like this as long as you guys actually like, view, and let me know what you think of these videos. I'll keep doing more, and I may even invest in better lighting for this room. The hard part that I have right now is when I turn a light on, it reflects on the whiteboard and I can't show you guys this cool stuff. So we'll see. I'm gonna get it figured out. We're moving forward. I appreciate all of you guys. Looking forward to some big stuff here to come. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll talk to you soon.